Hello, Superior YMCA. I am Jen, your Health and Wellness Director, and I am here with Ashley and Jill, and we have another wellness talk plan for you guys today. We are going to be talking about certain equipment versus another piece of equipment. It'll make more sense as we get going. I should have started with a better intro than that, but we're going to break down equipment from the fitness room, things that we use in the classroom, and like their kind of counterpart, and like the pros and cons of each piece of equipment or machine, what we prefer about them, what the benefits are of each one. So we're going to start with Bosu balls and stability balls. So really quickly here, Bosu stands for both sides up, if you guys haven't heard that before. So has that flat bottom side, has the rounded side up on top. We have a handful of them in our fitness room and in our classroom as well. And then our stability balls are the ones that are just equally round, all different sizes and colors that we also have in both rooms. So really just quickly here, I kind of want to get the girls' opinion on each of these pieces of equipment and what you like about it. Do you use it often? Is it really not something that you go to? Jill, what's your thoughts?
I've been using the Bosu ball more often now. I really like it because, for balance, I've been challenging my balance a little bit because, I'm not the greatest at balance, right now. So I like using that. I really don't use a stability ball all that often. I don't have one. And I don't utilize the ones at the Y. It's more or less just that Bosu ball because you can flip it over and get that hard surface up. So it's a little more challenging. Or you can just be on that ball side. And I prefer the Bosu ball over a stability ball. That's just kind of me. Maybe I would change my mind if I worked with it more. Who knows?
How about you, Ashley?
I like both. I think my probably slight preference would be to a Bosu just because I think it's a little bit more versatile because of the fact that you can have it on either side and has a lot of great, benefits in terms of balance and stability. I know I used it quite a lot after I had ankle surgeries in high school just to like rehab and get back to having strong enough ankles to do skating and basketball again. And just like a lot of different movements that you can do with it and modifications and whatnot. And the stability ball, I've used it more. We have one now at home too, and like there's a lot of like pregnancy exercises to do it. It's supposed to be super good for you to sit on even like when you're in labor too. And so or I've even heard people say like it's super nice to have like if you have a colicky baby, it's like you can just bounce on there and they like settle down. So maybe not as much use for exercise as other things that I've been researching lately, but yeah, I don't use it probably quite as often as I would, lean to that Bosu ball. But I do like it for like planking and different more core exercises, I would say, more than anything. But I think it's also great, like I've used it in more of like a rehab setting or like training older adults too, and doing squats. You can have your back against something and do range of motion and things like that you're not really like on the stability ball or like using it, but you can use it as like kind of a tool to support your body. So that's kind of neat about it too.
I think for me, I'm not really one that has used either of them very often. I think I reach towards, again, more of the Bosu ball myself because I do like to do squats and balance work with the ball side down and using the flat surface for push-ups or planks or mountain climbers or plank jacks, anything like that. I think in a classroom setting for me, like having the rounded side there and having that little ankle instability also kind of scares me in a group setting because everyone's thinking they have to work really fast and really hard. And so that kind of some concern that they might roll their ankle a little bit. But the stability ball too, I think for us, we don't have enough of them for the size of our classes. So I think that's another reason we as instructors maybe don't reach to them unless we're doing them in a station, which I reach more towards core work with them. I watch all these videos online now just with I have the entire time I've been in this industry here, but watching all these people do like these pikes and these different things on these stability balls, and like I try that and literally like I'm on the floor within seconds. So I just don't have like smoothness and finesse in myself personally to like add that movement on a stability ball without falling over and starting to laugh. So I've tried that. I think that's really like cool to see that you can do more range of motion. It's more isolated, it's more focused and like really mindful of your exercise, kind of reminding me of like a yoga mind body kind of situation. But I do reach more towards that Bosu. I did borrow one from the Y and brought it home with me. I like play with it myself and get a little bit more versatile with that. And I have to say I've enjoyed it for core as well, leaving the flat side down and doing full body extensions, bicycles, B-ups on there as well, and getting that full range of motion, like they say, over a stability ball where you're able to extend back a little bit farther than the range of motion of a floor, being able to get more out of your crunch. So I have been playing around a little bit more with that. So kind of, you know, in the middle there.
I also like the Bosu ball for like, you know, Russian twists and stuff like that. Cause like my tailbone, if I sit on a certain angle on my tailbone, it is very painful. So sitting on that Bosu ball kind of, you know, gives you that little cushion. So it's not painful and you can actually do a Russian twist or like any kind of like core work where you have to like kind of lean back and put all that weight and pressure kind of in your tailbone and back area. So I really like it for that.
That is a good point. And I do joke around that I actually have a tail. I don't, but my tailbone is protruding as well. And actually with teaching so many classes, Russian twists, full sit-ups do it to me as well. I can actually rub the skin off my tailbone probably on like a weekly basis, which is awful and ever. So using like a towel or that Bosu ball, something like that to help save your tailbone is really essential, I think, too. And I'm glad, Jill, that I'm not the only one that kind of has a tail. So yay, we can have you part of the tail club. So a couple things that I wanted to talk about here that we kind of got our opinions about, which might be some review now as we break this down. But the essence of a Bosu ball is to improve your balance. The Bosu may help you develop a greater awareness of your body's position at all times, which I do feel is very true. Like if I'm doing lateral squats with the flat side down, I am definitely aware kind of my body movement and my ankles more, and just really that awareness is there because you're really intent on that exercise and being safe. And then also as it's flipped over and you're doing squats and you feel that instability and like you're like this the whole time, you know, because you're trying to find that balance. I can definitely like, you know, resonate with both of those comments. What I do like about it, as it said here too, it really does focus on your core, your strength, your cardiovascular, and your flexibility, like all in one, which I think is really cool. I'm slightly drawn to it now being home more because you guys know me or know me for the last 10 years, I'm a step aerobics person by heart. I love, love, love my step board. So I kind of want to get creative with the Bosu in a similar aspect of that without having the hard surface of a step board. So moving on to that stability ball, again, it helps improve your stability and your balance, but it did say it improves your spinal stability. So that was kind of interesting to me. I know the trend to use them as office chairs has been there. I know April has one at the front desk. I know I have like a ball in my office that Ashley sits on, which actually looks like more like a Bosu ball, honestly, because it's just the rounded top. The stability ball also reinforces your core strength, which, you know, you kind of touched on that too, Ashley, like actually sitting there and like really activating your core to hold your balance, your flexibility.
Jen.
Uh-oh.
Are you there?
Looks like we're taking over.
She's so frozen.
She is. Technical difficulties.
My goodness. Oh.
We've gone so long without problems.
Wow. What happened?
You were very frozen.
You guys were frozen. I could hear you, and I was
You were
still.
frozen.
You guys were frozen for me. What did I say last?
Something about the stability ball.
What did you say?
Well, if I repeat myself here, forgive me. Technical difficulties with this Zoom thing. I was frozen in time for a moment there. So again, if I repeated myself, I apologize. We're just going to go back 2 seconds here. It improves your spinal alignment. If I've already repeated that twice, bonus, it improves your spinal alignment, round 3. So anything else with stability balls and Bosus that you guys want to add, like what you like or dislike about them, just in more of a professional level other than personal?
No.
Good. I actually do find a ton of joy in watch a lot of YouTube. Justin's a big YouTube fan. We watch a lot of gym fails and just fail videos in general because it is entertaining and, you know, to laugh at other people that are hurting themselves. There's a lot of people that run at each other holding stability balls. This amazes me that it's still people do this. I'd never try it because I probably would like break something horribly. But if you're looking for a good laugh, that's a good use of stability balls, I guess, as well. A universal use for them. I do not recommend you to do it at home. Just watch some videos of other people hurting themselves on a stability ball. Keep them for fitness related things only. Jill's laughing. She's like, I know, I've totally seen those too.
Yeah.
And videos where people are like bouncing on their stability ball and someone kicks it out from underneath, they drop straight down to the floor. Talk about tailbone like pain, but there is something about somebody else getting hurt that is actually pretty entertaining. So
it is.
If you guys are looking for a good afternoon of laughter, check out some gym fails on YouTube. So moving on to our next one here is going to be our medicine balls versus our dead balls. These are kind of a scary piece of equipment in a classroom setting, in my opinion. I always say that medicine balls bite back. Okay, they're the balls that rebound. They're the ones that are hard on the outside. If you slam it and try to go get it, you are going to lose your front teeth. So I've seen this numerous times, and I feel so bad for people that get hit with an 8 to 10 pound medicine ball being rebounded off the wall or the floor that comes back at their face. So medicine balls are hard. They rebound. Do not go like catch them with your face. We want to catch them just with your hands. We use them a lot for wall tosses, oblique side tosses. We do them for sit-ups, Russian twists, even just holding them. Excuse me. Ooh. Holding them in general. I probably swallowed a bug. Anyway, or just holding them in general. Where a dead ball is squishy. It almost feels like there is sand, which most of them have sand in them. That kind of moves around in the ball. Some of them don't necessarily move. I know ones that we have in our multi-purpose room, the 10 to 15 pounds, you can kind of feel it like flip-flop around there, but they do not rebound. They're generally rubber. They absorb that impact. They might bounce a tiny little bit off the ground, but it's very minimal. So we use these for more slams where you will go down to catch it. You will squat to get in that direction. Generally are not ones that we throw against walls because it would just drop. It's not going to come back at you. I do like them for squats and lunges because they rest really nicely on your shoulder. So I do like them for that. And I just love dead ball slams when you're hungry and just crabby and you want to just slam the crap out of something. Those things are amazing. So before I tell my story about both of them, I'll let you guys go. What's your maybe likes and dislikes and reaches towards medicine balls and dead balls?
I really like both of them. Like, I love the dead ball slams, great to get out aggression. And I like the medicine balls, but it just depends on what exercise I'm doing. So kind of got to pick my ball for the right exercise. But otherwise, I love both of them. I try to use both of them kind of equally, but I kind of reach towards that dead ball because, you know, the dead ball slams, can't go wrong with those.
Mhm.
I like both of them too. I think medicine balls can be a little bit more versatile just because of the fact that you can, you know, do things holding them versus you can do things where they're, you know, bouncing or coming back to you. And I like that you have to control their impact on the way back up if you're using it for like a bounce. So like dead ball slams, which I also love, but you're only getting that movement in like one direction and then you're done and then you have to pick it back up versus like if I'm doing like bounces where I'm like pushing the medicine ball down and then I have to stop it from coming back up and hitting me. Like I have to actually react in both ways. So I do like that about the medicine balls. But what I like about the dead balls is that the weight in it does move a little bit. So even when you're using it for things that aren't necessarily slams or like big movements, even if you're using it like for a shoulder press or anything like that, you feel it a little bit more difficult for your core and your stability wise because it's not just a solid piece of equipment. It's more along the lines of like a sandbag or something where you can feel that shift happening and you have to respond to that change.
That's a good point. I probably a handful of years ago now, probably like 4 years ago, I took a med ball power class as a continuing ed credit for personal training. And I actually really fell in love with working with medicine balls. And I came back and I was so excited just to like use them in a class setting because we were rebounding them a ton. We were throwing them to the ground. You were doing so much more with them than what I was really taught or I don't want to say allowed to do, but kind of what our restrictions were then, because we were not supposed to slam them to the floor or to the wall at the time. And then when I went to this class and we realized like what they're really for, I'm like, you can slam these. So then I started slamming the crap out of them. And I unfortunately broke like 8 of our medicine balls because they were old and we were rebounding them to a harder surface than probably what it was designed to do at the time. So I split them open like eggs. And my boss at the time was probably fairly upset with me that every other day I was walking in there with a broken medicine ball. And she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I just got certified for this class and it's awesome. And I just, so I think that'd be really cool to like replace all of our medicine balls, get new ones, and like offer these types of classes that they were slamming them side to side. They did a lot of partner stuff with them, which I think was really cool. And really utilizing them more, like we kind of reached to free weights or we reached to something else for strength, like reaching to those also to help with that strength. I feel like as an instructor, I don't use medicine balls as much in a rebounding aspect because I am very aware of people getting hit in the face with them. And I pride myself in only having to fill out, I think 2 or 3 incident reports in the last 10 years of me being there. I don't like people to get hurt in our classes. So that is one thing I'm very aware of. And I will say, I think that there's probably been about 5 people that got bit in the face by a medicine ball. And it's so embarrassing, I'm sure, for that member at the time because I repeat myself so much, like be careful, watch your face. And when you see it happen and you're like, oh my God, you just walk up to them like, are you okay? And they're like, yeah, I'm okay. And you just don't want to bring any extra attention to them because like they'll hit you in the jaw or it hits you square in the face. I've been hit with one in the face because I wasn't paying attention. It does not feel good. So I get a little weary about that because I never want anybody to get hurt, especially getting hit in the face. I reach again towards more of the dead balls because those were a newer thing that we recently got probably in the last 5 years. And as soon as I knew I could slam that baby down to take some aggression out, I just love it. I love adding it to squat hops. I love, like, I don't technically do like I should say like a proper dead ball slam in most of my classes where you'll slam it, squat, and pick it up at the same time as it barely rebounds off the floor. So it's that motion. I prefer to like add a jump squat and just work on the slam, like really the power through the shoulders, in my personal opinion. So I like probably dead ball slams the best. Or not slams, dead balls. I just like them the best. I think they're fun. And I like that you can use them for like, I've used them for push-ups. alternating side to side. I used them for toe taps because it kind of simulates kind of like a Bosu ball for me too. It's kind of squishy, so you really have to be aware how you're landing and how much pressure you're putting on that dead ball. I do like that they're extremely versatile, like both of those pieces of equipment, and I think they're extremely underutilized in a lot of our classes. So hopefully when we get back, we can kind of venture off into some new things with some new equipment. And yeah, anything else you guys want to add about dead ball slams and not slams? I keep saying slams. Balls and medicine balls.
I like chucking the dead balls overhead and then making people run and go get them. And then
like a landmine. Go!
Oh, I gotta throw it like
granny style.
Down and then throw it backwards.
And then go get it.
Yep, and then run and go get it.
Okay, that's good.
You can only do that in a very small class or in the gym.
In the gym, yeah.
But it doesn't go that far because the weight hangs at the bottom once you throw it, so it's not like it's gonna go like 100 yards away from you.
That'd be kind of a fun partner class if you had like the one partner throw it, the other one had to sprint to go get it, right? And then do it again. That'd be kind of a fun. Wheels are turning. Since we're gonna have to be in the gym anyway. Excuse me.
A lot of technical difficulties over there.
Well, I froze for a minute. Now I can't talk. Oh. Okay. Moving on to free weights versus our matrix equipment. So this is going to kind of be sending us back to the fitness room, kind of out of the classroom setting. Our free weights are going to kind of describe everything in the back half of the fitness room. So the cable machines, the Smith machine, the squat racks, any of the hand weights that are free and able to be moved, kettlebells, anything like that, I'm going to consider free weights. Everything else is our matrix equipment. That is our circuit system. So that's kind of what I'm comparing. They're going to be both strength related. I'm going to kind of break down a little bit of, I guess, I'm more of a free weights person. I'm not huge into the matrix system, but I think it's a great thing to also have. How about you guys? What's your opinion about either one?
I think the matrix system is great for someone kind of starting out, because I know that was me like way back when my mom got a Snap Fitness, and we would go there and I would do like what their matrix system was, and I did it for like a few weeks like to get started, but then after that I was like, I need more. Like these, I don't like the machines, I don't like being seated, I don't know, so I ventured off into the free weights, and then I kind of never looked back. So it's great for me to start out on and kind of get familiar, because I was just going into it myself and they were kind of self-explanatory. So just look at the little picture, follow along, you get to know what muscles it works. So for me, it was great to start out with, but I eventually just kind of moved to free weights and kind of never looked back. And I'd rather do free weights than the matrix system personally.
Yeah, I think it depends definitely on like the person and kind of what your goals are too, because the matrix system is great for like beginners or like a lot of times like more older people that may have, you know, stability issues or concerns over balance or just not knowing how to properly do a lot of the things. I think it puts you in that safe space, right? Because you can only use a certain range of motion. You can only, you know, stay within what that machine allows you to do, and it really isolates typically like each individual muscle group, which is, I think, it's one of its benefits and also one of its drawbacks, because if you're wanting to work like just your triceps, like that's great that you can isolate it and really control the movement to really focus on building the strength in that area. But at the same time, if you're trying to work your whole body and you want that stability aspect too of those like supporting muscles, you're not going to get that with the matrix system. So I think on one side you can lift heavier with a lot of the matrix equipment just because you are more in a controlled type of motion and environment versus like a back squat or just a squat with like a regular dumbbells. You have a lot more to worry about because you're not geared into that type of machine. But I think it's like a great option personally, and probably for most of like my clients and stuff too. I would, gear towards most of the free weight stuff, but I think even like some of my clients, I would push them towards the matrix to do on their own. So like we might do free weights in our sessions because I'm there and I can coach them through it and make sure they're being safe and things like that. And there might be some things that I'm comfortable with saying like, hey, you can try that on your own. And it might be like other things where, hey, we've done this. This is a similar motion, but I feel a lot more comfortable with you doing it on the matrix system when I'm not here, just to make sure that you're being safe and doing things correctly.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like matrix is perfect for people that too don't, I don't want to say like don't know what to do or don't, the creative side there. Like, and I mean, I'm an instructor, and if I walk back in the free weight section, not do I always like know what I want to do when I want to do it. It's kind of like overwhelming. I think with matrix is you can just walk in and it's just given there for you. You know, you're ready to full body workout. You really don't have to think. So there's not a lot of stress to make sure that you work muscle groups. I don't think there's a lot of time wasted because you are just moving to the next thing, which I think is a kind of a pro to that as well. Like you said, it puts your body into a safe position, that in controlled environment, which I also think is kind of nice. They're easy to operate and learn how to use, which is amazing now too. But again, you guys, if you haven't been trained in all the matrix equipment, when we get back, all of the trainers there can help you through any questions that you have. Reduces that risk of injury. And it is also great for injury recovery because you can just isolate those specific muscles as well. I think I lean more towards the matrix if I'm doing legs. I like to do upper body with free weights, but I think like the leg press is kind of cool to be able to use the leg extension machine. I hate that machine, but it is so effective and so good. Like it's an eye opener when you think that you can go back and squat, you know, a bunch, but then you go into that leg extension machine and you can't walk for like 3 days after that because, you know, those little muscles right around your knee that are just, oh my gosh. And the hip abduction and adduction machine is also another one that's really nice. You can mimic that in the cables, you can mimic that with bands, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about more free weight side. So these are like, you can't really replace them. So I think it's really good to build them into your routine, even if you don't use the entire matrix. You can use those machines to make your workout a little bit more well-rounded, I think is kind of a nice option. Weights, it creates that instability. Like you said, you're really activating a lot more muscle groups when you're focusing really on one. You're really activating a lot. So it improves your balance. Your more muscle fibers are being used. So that means that you can burn more calories potentially, right? Which is nice. I just lean more towards the free weights. I like the I just like to do bicep curls with the free weights. I like to do my triceps with the free weights. I like to be able to switch up what I want to do, like dips, things like that. Other, you know, you can use a bar, the wavy bars that are back in the fitness room area there. Doesn't always have to be hand weights necessarily. I don't love the feel, I think, for me, of like the upper body equipment in the matrix. It's smooth, but yet it's like, it's not
very restricted.
Yeah, I don't like that. I like to be able to do my own speed. I like to do different counts for my curls. I like to have that freedom to do the variety that I want, where you don't really get that in the matrix. But like we said in every video, there's a time and place for each one, and not that one is bad or one is better or anything like that. It's just your personal preference, and whatever motivates you, stick with it. Like if you really love the matrix because you really don't have to think other than putting your pin where your seat goes, adjusting your weight, getting in your reps. It's fast, it's efficient. You can get in and out of there in 45 minutes and you feel like you're bouncing from machine to machine in the back because you have to wait for someone to get off the cable machine. You know, there's no rhyme or reason in the fitness room and the weight room side. I don't want to say like there's no rhyme or reason, but like when you're in the matrix, you're working in a circuit. And generally, like you're following the person in front of you and they're working their way through. Back there, if you leave a piece of equipment, there might be a hawk that swoops in and takes your cable machine. and you might not be done with it and you went to go get a water break, but now they're moving things. And so that might be like the time waster aspect. So anything else that you guys want to add about free weights versus like the matrix? No, moving on. We're going to kind of move into some cardio equipment. This will be a little bit shorter and sweeter here. We're just going to kind of compare treadmills versus ellipticals. Sometimes I get those questions about what is better, what's more beneficial. Again, it really depends on you. A couple of things with treadmills is you're going to get more impact on your joints. That's just natural. It mimics more natural running or walking, which is kind of a nice scenario too. And they're easy to use. I feel like January, we get a lot of new members in. Everyone's going to a treadmill because they know how to walk, they know how to jog, they know how to run, and all they got to do is hit start, and it's just pretty easy. So they're very popular. They're very busy all the time. Where ellipticals, there is less impact to no impact on your joints, which again is really good if you're having any joint issues. Some of our ellipticals are total body because you can utilize your arms. Personally, I don't like the ellipticals that are like this. Too much going on for me. Like I just kind of want to focus. It's a natural movement, which also is nice. And it feels easier than a treadmill due to the impact is what I'm going to say personally. I think having the impact of running is what tires you out. And when you're on the elliptical, you're like cross country skiing. You're just smoothing right along and have your own little rhythm. So I like both. Yeah, I would say I like both equally. I like to switch it up. So how about you guys?
I don't like treadmills because one, I can't walk or run straight. So you're kind of stuck in this area, and I tend to just, so I've had an incident where I was, just doing a light jog on the treadmill. If I do go on a treadmill, I have to hold on, like no joke. I can't run or walk straight. So I kind of just shy away from the treadmill. I do like the elliptical because you have lesser impact, like on my knees. I got knee problems, but so I like it. And I always kind of go to that because I just don't like the treadmill. So I'm like, next in line is the elliptical.
Good.
I've only had one elliptical that I've ever liked, and it was not a Matrix brand. I don't even remember what brand it is, but it was where you could adjust your stride length for how big of the motions you were making forward to backward. And that's what I don't like about most ellipticals, because you can only go in a certain range of motion. And I'm like, this is not normal. Like I feel very weird and awkward, and it's not like natural. Mm-hmm. So I tend to go more towards a treadmill because I feel like I can control my pace and my incline and my speed and like what I want to do more than like, I just don't like the restrictedness of like the range of motion personally on an elliptical. But like my sister loves ellipticals. She could go in there for like an hour and like be totally
fine. Like my mom.
But I don't know. I can't go on a treadmill for super long either, just because I get bored. But I do like I can change the incline. I'm fine doing like speed work on there because you can actually see, how fast you're running, and then you can take a break and slow it down. Mm-hmm. But I like having more control over what I'm doing on the treadmill versus forcing myself to like just do the same thing. And usually on ellipticals, you can really only change the resistance, and you can't really, like, you're not really going on an incline or a decline or a...
You need to try the pre-cores that we have. You can adjust those into an incline and make it like super steep, or you can't obviously like decline it, but I like the pre-cores better because they have no hand motion. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I will say that is funny. So our pre-cores, those are our more popular ones. Everyone seems to like them. They're smoother. I always, when I train people in, I describe our ellipticals like horses. I have no horse, so don't ask me why I say this, but I say like our pre-cores are like...
Your thighs get really sore?
No, because it's thoroughbred. It's like sleek and it's like smooth, and they just have this great stride. And our matrix ones are like a Clydesdale. Like you put your knees up. It's a slower motion. This isn't like smooth. It is funny that you say like you can't adjust your stride because everybody on the pre-core has the same bumps.
Mm-hmm.
No matter if you're 6 feet tall or if you're 5'4" or any age, whatever, like you get your stride going and you're just like, everybody's the same on there. So I think that that's funny. But try either one. I think the pre-core is probably the one that I reach to just because it seems smoother. You can put the incline up on it. Yeah. Who am I kidding? I don't even work out in the fitness room. What do I prefer? I mean, I'm getting better about that. I would reach to elliptical before the treadmill, and for me, just because I don't have to think about that either. You're just on that thing and you're like the whole time. Anyway, anything else you guys want to add about treadmills versus ellipticals? Cut and dry. We're going to kind of stay on the elliptical topic just for a minute and talk about ellipticals versus the new step. So the new step is great for more like rehabilitation, like if you had a knee replacement or you're nervous about balance too, because it's the same similar motion seated. Has handles as options to use or not to use, which is really nice. We just got another new step in as well. So we have 3 of them now. And we got another new elliptical. So I believe we have 3 pre-cores too. So the only real difference there is that one is standing, one is seated. And that's probably the only thing I'm going to really talk about for the new step. But I mean, it is really good for, I see a lot of people with knee replacements on there. So anything else that you guys want to add about that?
Well, and the seats are more like adjustable too, right? Can't you turn it to get in and out?
Yes, you can turn it and then like snap into place. Yeah.
You can recline, you can scoot forward, you got armrests, like
Dang.
the whole thing.
It's like the Cadillac of our fitness equipment, pretty much.
There's lines, like people wait for them. They'll sit on the chairs and wait. So good thing we got 3 now.
Yes, absolutely. So it is a good option, like if you're not comfortable standing or balance wise, because those ellipticals are kind of scary to get into, I will say, because like you step and it moves right away. So finding your balance is really important there too. So, all right. So now talking about our spin bikes versus, I want to say recumbent bikes, but also the other taller seated bikes that we have there too that are matrix. And just kind of the variations of those. Recumbent bikes are the ones where you're actually seated, completely seated, and you can hold on beside your hips and you're actually pedaling more in an outward motion away from you, simulating kind of like our bicycle crunches. I don't know why my head went to biceps. But yeah, more an outreach where your other bikes, you're seated on top and you're pressing down. I think the biggest thing that people are going to say about the spin bikes is like the seat.
It's so tiny.
The spin bikes are the ones that the seats look horribly uncomfortable and are like the size of like, tiny. But they're really not that bad. I think that's the one thing that deters people the most from the spin bikes is that the seat just looks extremely uncomfortable. You get used to it extremely fast. I will tell you that if you become kind of more into spinning and add it part of your routine, you'll be sore for like the first week. Yes, you will. I'm not gonna lie. And I'm so dreading after having 2 months off going back and sitting on that bike for the first time. It's going to be so painful. But I'm so excited to do it because I miss my spin bike.
Mm-hmm.
The spin bike for me, like you're going to be burning more calories just because the ability to sit and stand is there. And in a spin class, you're doing that a lot. There is moderate injury risk here with like a spin bike, just because I think you're standing, you're sitting, you're moving, you're doing so much more. The speed is a little bit there. I have been known to see people have their feet slide out of like the stirrups. So not saying that that's going to happen to you. I don't know if it's ever flipped out of that thing. So, but I have had a couple participants have that happen. Recumbent bike is going to be a lower injury risk of recumbent bike. The seated version of that is going to be great for rehabilitation as well, working to strengthen up those legs after like a knee replacement or anything like that, and kind of getting that range of motion back. The other bike that we have there, that's a matrix, that's on top of, I can't quite think of the actual name for that bike. It's just a stationary bike. The seat is much wider. It is a little bit more comfortable. You're more seated straight onto it, I would say. You can lean forward, where the spin bike really pushes you to lean forward in that direction. So if you're not as comfortable on a bike, spin bikes are probably not what you're going to feel the most safe on, especially when your feet are in stirrups on it too. And then now you're leaning and it's just not as, maybe not as comfortable. But if you have not been on a spin bike, I would highly suggest that you try it out. I think you'll get used to it. I think you would like it. I like the ability to sit and stand and kind of move your body through different ranges of motion, opposed to just seated or the basic stationary bike. We do have one Aerodyne bike at the Y. It's probably older than me, thank goodness, because age is coming into my life quite frequently here lately. The Aerodyne bike that is up on the track is also up there with a couple of our older spin bikes that we replaced. It's the big motion, the big fan, right? We all know that sound. My mom used to have an Aerodyne bike as I was growing up, and man, that thing was just like a rocket getting ready to take it off. So if you want one that has your arm movements with it, you can go try that stallion out up on the track. Like I said, it's pretty old, but
people still use it.
Yeah, they still use it.
They do.
So I'm going to kind of toss it over to you guys. What are your likes, dislikes about the bikes? Personal and professional, I guess, opinions on them.
I really like the spin bikes. At first, I was very intimidated by them. I don't know if that was the bike or just watching Jen teach a class, which was intimidating. I'm like, I don't know which one's worse. But yeah, I really like the spin bike. I don't know, something about getting the up and down, and you're just working so much harder, I feel like, on a spin bike than, like, I guess you could work really hard on an treadmill as well, like really run, but I'm not about that. So my spin bike is where I want to go when I want to really push myself in that, like, cardio endurance kind of area. Really haven't used a recumbent bike, don't use that very often, but I always tell people if the spin bike is too intimidating for them, or they just don't like it, that's their next best option.
Nice.
Yeah, I can't say I have done a workout on a recumbent bike.
I think I read a book on it once.
I show people how to use it, but I don't personally use it. I mean, I think, everything that you guys have said about that, but also maybe for those two that might have more of like back or spinal issues, that it's a little bit more comfortable for, just because it can be really hard when you don't have any type of backrest and you're sitting straight down on your tailbone for an extended period of time, whether that's on just the stationary one and for sure on a spin bike, because then you're, like you said, Jen, you're going forward. So that's really, anyone with kind of hip lower back stress is not going to be ideal for them. And then I think the stationary bikes with the bigger seat, obviously, like you said, they're more comfortable, but to me, like, especially in like in a spin class, like, you're getting up and down so much that, like, it's not that bad. I mean, I feel like if you're not used to it, it's a little bit of an adjustment for sure, but unless you're doing those stupid flats, which we never do, and you're sitting there for like 5 minutes straight, going as fast as you can without getting up, you're getting that pressure and you're changing positions so often that I don't really feel like I don't get like very sore, like at least on my butt, like my legs are sore and my heart rate and my lungs, but usually not from sitting on the seat, although it doesn't look the most appealing when you look at it. You're like, how am I supposed to fit on that thing?
I think not even necessarily like once I always say, like, you callous your butt, really. After the first week, you're sore for the first week. I'm not going to deny. And it's not your butt that's sore. It's deeper than that. Because we all know where that seat actually sits. And it's not your butt at all. It's everything else that's in between there. That is like my sit bones. That's what I would probably describe it as, is my sit bones are tender. Any type of, like, after you've sat on it and then you go on it the next day, you're like, okay, when can I stand? But it goes away. Like, as soon as you get into a routine, it goes away. Like, it really, and it goes away fast. I would say within the first week, especially if you're doing a class. Now, if it's something that you do only like once a month or twice a month, yeah, you're not going to want to go back to it, but you build up that endurance and like you don't even notice that stuff anymore. The one thing I'll say about the recumbent bike that'll kind of like, for me personally, I kind of tried to use all the equipment within the facility just so I knew like what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it. So if I was training people in, I just knew how to use it. I feel like the seated recumbent bike really focuses more on my hamstrings. That bike, when you add some resistance to it, my hamstrings are sore. That motion, I think from pushing out, your foot is flexed, you're activating that hamstring way more. Even though you're flexed upside down, you're in an upright position on a spin bike, my quads would be more sore on a spin bike to a stationary bike, where my hamstrings in the seated position is a little bit different. So, but personal preference. I don't know if anyone else experiences that, but that might be kind of a different factor too for some people. Ultimately, we all love the spin bike, the three of us do. So if you don't love a spin bike, you should really learn to love it. One of the spin classes, they're super fun, and I'm not that scary, and neither are these two. So
kind of scary.
She's
down there.
She's down there. I'm like, why are you guys pointing down? Because on my screen, if you guys aren't watching, I'm totally not on the bottom of the screen. So I was wondering where they were pointing. Spin is amazing. I love spin. Like, and I'm getting off topic because we're going to talk about classes versus a fitness room on another video. But spin for me, like, this is going to be, I have to censor this. I feel like a badass, right? You walk in, you just feel like pumped. You get to yell at people. You last through that spin class. Our music is loud. We draw so much attention to ourselves in there. Anybody that's on that bike that does that class and walks away from it, I think you walk away a little taller, a little more proud of yourself, and you just feel accomplished, which I think is huge. Any fitness class probably gives you that, but spin 30 minutes of pure torture. Like, you are completely drained, you're on empty, but you walk off and you're just like, yeah, you're just a little taller. So I think that's what I really like just about the piece of equipment in itself, is how it does kind of feel more empowering, which probably is from the class too, but I do love me a spin bike. So
Oh yeah, it's good sweat. I love the sweat after a spin class, because if you leave dry, you didn't do anything. You didn't do any work.
Yeah. Yes. So the last comparison that we're going to kind of talk about here is going to be the step mill versus a stair stepper. We have both of those in our facility. The step mill is a newer piece of equipment that we have. It does look a little intimidating because it's very tall. That was one thing that I was like, huh? I have to get up. I'm short though, if they haven't already told you that, I'm fairly short. So to step up on this piece of equipment that challenges, your balance, your coordination, and now you're like up here, is kind of daunting, I think, to some people. But it really is just like an escalator. That's all it really is. It's just a constant rotation of that escalator motion of walking upstairs. You can make it go faster. You can slow it down. I've seen a lot of people do different types of exercises on there, like skipping steps, adding glute raises, doing jump squats, doing like side lateral steps, which makes it really versatile. It is a tough workout. I will tell you that. 5 to 8 minutes on that bad boy, and you're like, holy, you can be extremely sweaty in that thing. But I think part of it is because I'm hanging on for dear life because I'm so scared to fall. And compared to the stair stepper, I really don't use this. My mom used to have one growing up, and it seems sluggish to me. Like, I like to get my heart rate up really high and really quickly, so I feel like it's effective. The stair stepper is like slow. You're working a little bit more resistance and you have to use more body weight to draw it down. And for me, if I'm thinking of cardio, I want to move fast. So if I'm stepping, I want to move quick, which doesn't give that to me. So how about you guys? Passing that off on both those pieces of equipment.
Yeah, I've only really used the step mill, the escalator one. Yeah. And I didn't use like any sort of step machine until I started working at the Y. Not when I started working, when I got a personal trainer, I started using the step mill because that was my warm up for 5 to 8 minutes. So I really like that piece of equipment, but like you said, like 5 to 8 minutes and you'll be ready to sit down and not work out again. But I've never really been with the stair stepper. That, I don't know, I see a lot of people like trying really hard to go fast on it, and it's that sluggish kind of more of your body weight pushing it down. So, but I've just used the stair mill and I really do like it. You do get a good workout from it.
Yeah, I haven't really used that other one either. But I do like whatever it's called, the escalator one.
Step mill?
It's called the escalator.
It's not an escalator, because an escalator you can like ride it all the way to the top. On like the step mill, you get like 3 or 4 steps, and then you have to step, otherwise you're gonna biff it off the machine.
I imagine that I say an escalator because I feel like it's as the stairs are disappearing into the floor, like that's are. So I should have specified if an escalator and you're literally, if you're walking up an escalator that you're supposed to be riding down. That's what it is. And I've been there. I've been that stupid person that's tried to run up an escalator. I
did not do that as a child. I definitely did that as a child.
I didn't do it as a child. I'm pretty sure I was 25 and I biffed and ripped my pants.
I used to be afraid of escalators though, because one time I forgot to like step off of it and I almost fell down the whole escalator.
That's the worst.
Because I was like waiting till the last second to like step off the escalator at the top, and I missed or didn't do it soon enough and like started going the other way. But anyway. I do like the step mill. I don't usually use it for like an entire workout. I like it as a warm up for like a lower body strength type of workout, because I think it really does activate, all those muscles in your legs and in your hips and even in your core, if you're not holding on. And I do like some of the variations if you slow it down and you go sideways, or you do those more of the things that I would do on like a typical staircase. Which I don't really feel like I have to use the piece of equipment. It's nice because if you're like already going to work out in the fitness room, it's right there. But we only have one of them too. So, I think my go-to would be to just go use like the stairs that are the back stairwell that goes like up to the track or something, and do that type of thing. But if I'm going to work out in the fitness room, I think it's nice to have it just right then and there, or if I was using it with like a circuit or something, stimulating like the actual stairs instead of, I don't know what that other one is, or it's like
the step mill is new to us. We haven't had it that long, so it was kind of on a wish list of a few of our members, and we were able to get it, which has been really nice. So we've only had it a handful of years, and I know that we've been looking into potentially getting another one because people do like it so much.
The other one.
Well, and that's what I said. I was like, and then there's so many people that still love the stair stepper. The stair stepper to me is like almost doing, it's just like doing like high knees, kind of like if that's what you're doing for motion. It's a lot of calf work on that machine, I would say. But the only thing I don't like about the step mill is that as the stairs roll down, I don't have very large feet, but I feel like half my foot needs to be kind of off the step mill, because as it rolls down, it can pinch your toes in your shoes. It's not going to pinch you. You're going to pull your foot out and then it kind of is a scare at first where you're like, oh my gosh. And as it rolls down, you really need to stay on top of the machine and keep that pace on the top probably 2 stairs on it, opposed to riding it kind of down, because it does angle down. So if someone is worried about falling or does have some instability issues, it might not be the machine for you. But if you try it and slow it down and you can hold on and just grab someone to help you through it. I know that I've walked people through that machine quite often because it is a little daunting. And once they try it, they seem to really like it, but they do agree that it is a little scary at first, especially telling them where to place their foot.
Yeah.
Because generally when we're talking in a fitness class setting, we want your entire foot to be on the piece of equipment, like on the step board. We don't want your foot hanging off the back, adding that stress to the middle of your foot and through the arch. So we kind of contradict ourselves slightly on that machine. But, you know,
it's a little hard.
Every rule.
When you got big feet. For me, my whole foot hangs off, that's okay. So I'm walking on my balls of my feet, because I do have big feet, not gonna lie.
You're not gonna lie.
No, I'm not.
That's funny.
So that's one thing I kind of had to figure, when I first got on, like you said, you feel like it's gonna get your toes, so you gotta back off a little bit, and I'm like, well, I'm just gonna tiptoe on this thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gotta get those calves going.
Oh, they feel it.
Well, and another thing that kind of branches me off to say how versatile the step mill can be, whether you want to do a lunge with a glute raise or work lateral motion. I have also seen people do that kind of stuff on a treadmill. So you can get the incline up really high and you can work a lateral step on a slower one. And I've also seen people do mountain climbers on a treadmill. And so not in our facility, I watched that in a video, but it wasn't a fail video either. They successfully were working on these mountain climbers. So I thought that was kind of cool. Maybe before we open and the fitness room is empty, that might be something that I will try just to see what it's like. But that was kind of interesting to me too, having it on an incline and doing mountain climbers through the treadmill, or doing a lateral step up on a really high inclined treadmill as well. So getting creative with the pieces of equipment too is kind of fun. And if we're going to kind of, this could take us down a whole nother rabbit hole, but elliptical, you can go backwards on it too. You can run backwards. Please don't do that on the treadmill. Scary.
There's some pretty fun exercises you can do on a rowing machine too. Using
we didn't even talk about our rowers, but what do we compare that to?
I was going to say, we have a rower, but
compare it. I mean,
it's its own thing.
Yeah. Because I
We
feel
do have rowers.
it's much more of a full body exercise than most of the cardio machines are really leg focused. Even though your arms are moving, there's not really much resistance, versus you gotta actually row and pull.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen people do different Pilates kind of style reformer moves on a rower. So putting your feet on the seat and doing those pikes and lateral lunges and things like that too. So that's a comment to say with our rower.
Or you can put your hands on the seat and do plank rollouts or side plank stuff.
Can you imagine? Oh, I'm bipping on my face.
Yep.
Try all these exercises before we open, so then we can challenge you guys to some safety. Oh my gosh.
I don't even know if there's room behind those rowers to be in a plank, because then the matrix circuit things are right there.
I've thought about it because I thought the pikes would be kind of fun to do, to put your toes on it and stuff, but our fitness room has always been packed, and that's the last thing I want to go try to do. And put my butt up in the air for one, but then if I successfully can't complete what I'm doing, that's the worst thing ever. So
you're yep, I'm gonna just sit in the office now. I won't come up.
Oh, you had to call an ambulance today? Who was it for? Jen. She was doing something weird on the rower.
It was Jen.
She busted up her face.
Sad.
Anything else you guys want to add about any equipment that I might have missed?
I don't think you missed anything.
I really didn't compare anything to the rower, but we don't really have something else to simulate it. So what I was thinking, if we had one of those it's gonna escape my brain. One of the arm, oh, what are those
Like
called?
an ergonomic or
It kind of works
arm
more
bike?
upward. Yeah. So like that to me would have been a good comparison for like a rower because we're kind of like, you know, something else to compare to. We don't have one of these. I think we would like to get one.
Well, we have like the rope ones. Have you ever seen those?
No.
So it's like, it's almost kind of like a cable machine with a rope, and then there's an option to put like a seat. And so you can pull the rope, or you can take the seat off and do a bunch of other stuff. You can go the other way.
Oh, interesting. So new equipment that we'll have to look into maybe too, which would be cool. So this was our comparison talk about our equipment that we have, kind of the pros and cons, what we liked about it, and just giving you guys some general information that if you're stuck on the elliptical, try something new, try the treadmill a little bit, or vice versa. And if you haven't been on a spin bike or the step mill yet, they're waiting for you. So please hop on, give them a try. Yeah, so don't forget to like, share, hit that subscribe button, post some comments below. Again, you guys, interact with us. Let us know that these videos are going somewhere, that they're helping you. I'm staring at myself into my computer screen. So please let me know it's worthwhile, you enjoy them. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and we will see you guys again soon with another video. Bye.